Hello there. Good evening once again. It's me again. Welcome to Casting the Net, Mondays with Coach Rice, where we dive deep into topics that's pertaining to your mental health and well being. I'm your host, Coach Rice, your professional certified life and health coach and trained mental health counselor. Today, I have with me, I just want to welcome my special guest, Kate Paullin. Paullin, Kate Paullin.
Paullin. Yep.
And we're going to delve into a topic that is very interesting and to me, and I'm so excited to delve into it. It's unlocking the neurodivergent potential with mindset and emotional intelligence. This big word, no, neurodivergent, no, but dealing with the brain, basically. And, Kate, tell me what, as a coach, where are you located actually?
I am in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay, Cleveland, Ohio. Okay. And what what brought your heart to be a coach in this area, this particular area?
Well, it's related back to my own journey. I feel like any coach you
I
ask them
see
how
you
they
got
get
a little
there.
cat.
Yes, this is my Rocky. He
Oh,
has to
okay.
make an appearance on everything. um, no, like I think like most coaches, you have experiences that are near and dear to your heart, and they kind of lead the direction that you go with your life, right? And so I spent like the first like 30 years of my life, quite frankly, really not liking myself and driving myself crazy because I had all of these thoughts in my head. Like my brain just never, ever, ever stops. And that led me down like the personal development rabbit hole, if you will, and turning through there. And that led me to actually talking to people who are autistic and ADHD and discovering, oh my, all of those things that I have thought about myself and I have noticed about myself in general. I'm actually part of a large group of people. And it's has to do with the differences in the way that my brain works and everything. It's not that I'm less than, it's just that I'm different.
Exactly. I'm glad you brought that up because it is it's interesting because you have ADHD, you got autism, you have different functions of the brain that we do function different. That doesn't mean we are less than. You are so correct. And then it's people walking around undiagnosed actually with ADHD and different brain issues. So with this topic that we're talking about, tell me more about the this neurodivergent, and how we tell us more about that and how do we regulate our emotions.
Well, neurodivergent, just for people who aren't familiar with that, breaks down to neuro, meaning our brain, our nervous system, right? And divergent, meaning different path, diverging from the quote unquote norm. So traditionally, we have had the neurotypical kind of brain, which has been what we have deemed the quote normal brain. Neurodivergent is any brain that doesn't fit into that specific mold. And so when we're looking then in terms of like emotional intelligence, a lot of if you look at like what the traits of autism are, what the traits of ADHD are, there's a lot of emotional dysregulation or problems regulating our emotions in general. We experience emotions, according to some people, we experience emotions more intensely than others. And in general, it's super easy to get swept away in the emotional responses to these things that are coming up for us.
So true, so true. Yeah, especially like because with ADHD, you just you all your brain is like all over the place. Your brain doesn't function like to focus on one thing like other people can.
Yep, there's attention regulation differences, and
Yes.
that I thought was particularly interesting that I didn't know until I discovered that I'm ADHD is I've heard hyperactivity. And growing up, it was always boys who can't sit in their seats. So the fact that I was a girl who could sit in my seat automatically meant couldn't be ADHD. And now we know more that the hyperactivity is also mental. Like I could be sitting from what seems like perfectly still in my chair. And I guarantee you there's so
Yeah.
much activity happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's the mind that won't stop, right?
Yep.
And it's like, yeah. And so, you do you take medication to keep it
I do not.
okay?
I'm that there's a couple different reasons for that. For
Hmm.
the most part, I do take an antidepressant, and that helps a lot with my mood in general. And so everything else has kind of happened for me. I find ways to work around, if you will,
Right.
as long as I have like the antidepressant.
Yeah, it
And there's
kind of
also,
helps with that as
yeah,
well. Okay.
yep. And there's different studies about like the way that anxiety can show up with some of the stimulants that
Yes.
ADHD medications. So I haven't personally dove down that hole.
So tell me, what is your onboarding process for
Cool.
clients?
Well, all that's entirely personalized. It starts with a conversation. It's basically saying, okay, what's coming up for you? What is showing up for you? What problems are you having? And in general, a lot of the problems that neurodivergent people have to do with us trying to work against our brains. It's trying to work in ways that other people have said this is the way that you need to work. And we are trying to fit into those boxes that other people have defined. So my onboarding process, if you will, is starting to kind of figure out where those things are happening. Where are you doing things because they actually work for you and you want to do them? And where are you doing things because you quote unquote should or you feel like you have to?
Okay. And the yo so what is the goal in your sessions like mainly?
The goal of my sessions are a lot of it is self acceptance. To boil it down to like
Okay.
the bare bones, it's understanding that differences are not good or bad. They are just differences. It's understanding that emotions are not good or bad. They are information, and learning about what we can do for ourselves to show up the way we want to in the world.
I like how you mentioned our emotions are not just emotions, they are information. I
Mhm.
know what that means, but tell the audience, what do you mean by that?
So when we get caught up into our emotions, let's take anger, for example. Anger tends to be a rather frowned upon emotion. It's one that most people will do a lot to try to avoid feeling. And a lot of that comes from the reactions that we have to those emotions, to the intense feelings that we have coming
Yes.
up. Anger, in and of itself, however, is usually an indication that there's some kind of injustice or something your experiences are trying to signal to you that hey, something isn't right with what's going on here. And it's not necessarily a matter of like then reacting and throwing your anger out on everyone else. It's saying, okay, what's going on in this situation that I can learn from, that I can grow from? What is showing me what I care about? And I have a bad habit of intellectualizing my emotions. So it's also then where in my body am I feeling that particular emotion arising?
Yes, because our bodies do communicate that
Mhm.
when something is wrong. And so, what is the age group of your clients?
Adults. A lot of my clients are late diagnosed, like myself. We got into our 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s. I see all kinds of different ages. And we are now realizing, oh, everything that we thought about our life up until now is kind of changing because now we have this new diagnosis, this new language that we can use to understand ourselves and to explain ourselves to other people.
Okay. Okay, so it's all ages
Yeah, it's really more about like where they are in
where
their
they
life
are in a
than
diagnosis.
yeah.
Okay. Now, have you gotten anyone that wasn't diagnosed that came to see you? And
I definitely
how was you able to handle that within the ethical guidelines of a life coach versus a counselor?
say, well, that's the main one. The first is that I do not diagnose. I will neither confirm nor deny anything that you want to label yourself. What I view my role as is more helping you find the labels that feel right to you. So anyone who wants to work with their brain is welcome to come
Okay.
see me. I'm not going to say you're not neurodivergent, like no way, no how. Because neurodivergent is, it's, at the end of the day, it's just a label. Do you think your brain diverges from the quote unquote norm? Then yes, you are neurodivergent. If you don't, then no, you're not
Okay.
neurodivergent.
So it don't fit in a certain category. Like if you got this, if you diagnosed with this, you can come here. It doesn't fit that way. It's just if you know your brain functions different, come see me so that I can help you regulate your emotions along with the way your brain function. Is that correct?
Yeah, and also looking at like mindset, looking at what can be reframed, what has if you are someone who has been diagnosed, and just for the record, I view self-diagnosis just as valid as official
Yes.
diagnosis when it comes to autism and ADHD and what have you. And when you get these labels, you get these diagnoses, or you first start to suspect for yourself that, you know, something, maybe I'm different from other people, what have you. A lot of it is feeling broken. That's what a lot of people say before they discover their particular flavor of neurodivergence. Um, you get, excuse me,
Don't feel bad. I'm going through it too.
that time of year.
Yes.
um, as we are getting these labels, there's a lot of preconceived notions around what any of those mean. Like I was talking about a little bit ago about when I was growing up in like the 80s and 90s, ADHD was for boys. It was for little boys. You outgrew it when you became an adult, and that's it. It was something that needed to be almost trained out of you in a way, because it was thought of as
Right.
being wrong, right? Autism, that's another one. There's a lot of you don't look autistic, or you're not autistic because the person that I know who is autistic can't speak, or what
Right.
have you, in those lines. There's a lot
And
of
they can
of
be anywhere on the continuum.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's, we call it like a color spectrum, like a circle, and you make different spiky profiles depending on how you kind of fit into it.
Right.
But the whole point is you might have like these preconceived notions or these ideas about what it means, and so it's looking at your own, I call them filters in your brain, and cleaning what you can out of them so that you have a healthier view of yourself and your capabilities.
I think it's awesome what you're doing. I've never known something like this existed. And this is a great niche, actually.
I hope so.
Oh, it is. And I mean, really, seriously, it's like, that is a great way, a great support system to have to be able to come see someone to talk about that. Because a lot of people do feel, with a diagnosis, feel broken. And you're not broken. But it's hard to get them to see that, right?
Yeah,
Because to change that view, how do you change that view?
I ask a lot of questions, quite frankly. The it's helping one realize where there might be other ways to think about something. A kind of traditional, if you will, part of autism and ADHD can be black and white thinking. It can be
Right.
thinking it's, it's this or it's this. And so what I'm doing is asking a lot of questions to help you as the client see the gray in between those two different
So you
ends
do
of
a lot
things.
of reframing and
Yeah.
thought, um, just this this taking apart their thoughts and getting them to see things different because
Yeah.
perception is everything. Yeah.
Yep. And understanding that there's like this pause between having a thought and realizing it, having an emotion and acting upon it. There's this moment of awareness when these things are happening. And that is like, that's the ultimate point where we want to get to. That's the potential for everything that we want. It's that moment of awareness.
Yes. So you have any books out?
I do not have any books out. I would like to write a book, and it
Oh,
has to happen.
it's coming. It's coming.
I write articles, I write newsletters. That's
Oh, that's
been,
nice. Okay, so they definitely can go into your link and once I'll put it in your the links that you have so that everybody can know what you're doing and
Yep.
how you're doing it. And you do virtual, right?
Yep. It's all virtual.
All virtual. Okay, you do all virtual.
Mhm.
Okay, nice. And do you have anything special coming up or any projects you're working on?
I am actually about to start my first group program, which is exciting for me. I have a couple different people that I'll be doing a 6 week group coaching series around ADHD and finding connection within ourselves so that we can find connection with other people. A lot of times people think that connection starts outside of themselves. And so the point of the group program is to realize connecting with yourself is the first step to be able to genuinely
Yes.
connect with other people.
Yes. That's good. When is the workshop?
Well, the first one actually will be this Thursday. So
Nice.
3 days from now. Yeah.
And it's how long?
It's 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay. 6 weeks. Okay. And they can find that out on the website
All of that is on my website. You
and
can sign up
sign
for my
up and
newsletter. You can see what events are coming up. You can see what services I have to offer. You can book a free call with me to discuss your specific situation and what might work best for you. All of that's on there.
oh, nice. Okay. So what advice would you want to give? You have an audience. What advice would you want to leave them with?
Authenticity is key. That's what I'm going to go with. Meet yourself where you are, as opposed to like judging yourself for not being where you think you should be or where you want to be, or blaming, shaming, criticizing. All of that is natural for our brains to want to do, and also very icky is the term that I want to use to to describe that. So anything that you can do that is allowing you to show up as your true self, that's a beautiful thing.
That is so true. If we can just accept ourselves for and meet ourselves where we are and
Yep.
unapologetically accept it, we will
Yeah.
learn so much about ourselves.
It's like unconditional love for ourselves.
Exactly. We can give grace to other people, but we have to learn how to give grace to ourselves.
Yeah, and I think we also have to learn how to have emotional experiences, like how to experience emotions in a way that is, I'm going to say healthy. I don't think that's quite the word that I want to go for, but so many of us grow up with examples that maybe aren't the healthiest, aren't the best, and it's the only way that we know. And so we find ourselves treating our emotions the way that our parents treated our emotions, the way that our schools treated our emotions, everything. Like it's, we grow up with a lot of pushing the blame onto other people as opposed to taking responsibility for the what we can inside ourselves.
And when you put the blame on other people and not take responsibility, it keeps you in that cycle of that of destroying yourself because you never get a
Absolutely.
chance to learn who you are, or you stuck you blaming someone else, but you giving someone else power over your health, your
Yes.
decision making, your trajectory in life. You'd be surprised how much power you give someone when you push the blame on them instead of taking accountability for what part did you play in it and what part do you want to play in it.
And how much are you actually pushing away? Like, is it that you're getting uncomfortable and you
Right.
don't like the feeling of discomfort, so you push it out on someone else?
Instead of walking into the that emotion and dealing with it, because a level, so when I'm uncomfortable in the season I'm in right now, but it's meant to push me forward, not to
Yeah.
damage me. I
It's
just I
hard to
just
learn from.
lean into it and say I'm just gonna have to be uncomfortable.
The only way out is through.
Exactly. And so that's I just go ahead and go through it like that. So but Kate, I am so grateful that you came on my platform and I invited you because I like to be able to refer clients when I see gifts like yours pop up where I want to be able to walk my clients through. If they need help dealing with my brain don't function the way everybody else and I feel insecure, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Here's the
here for.
person you need to talk to. And so this is helping me build my referral list, as well as helping, as well as getting you out there. People need to know where you are, what are you doing, and you
Yep.
know, and the more people, when you're doing awesome things the way you're doing them, people need to see who you are,
Yep.
you know. So I'm
Yeah.
so glad you have this type of platform, because I know quite a bit of people who get diagnosed and feel broken,
Mhm.
and they just need that
Yep.
extra support, that extra heart that you have, because you've been there in that situation, so you can really help them through that. And so I'm so grateful that you came on today, and I'm so glad I'm able to build that extra relationship with you as well, and
Same.
in what you're doing. So I'm so glad, and I just want to say to my listeners, I'm so grateful that you decided to, come on and listen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support always. I just want you to know that if you know someone who is struggling after a diagnosis, or who's struggling without a diagnosis, just struggling with the fact that their brain don't think the way other people think, and they feel insecure about it, they can always call Kate. Her
Yep.
information, I will put the information in the in the comments, as well as the YouTube video, and that way you can know how to reach her. But please send this video out to other people that you know need it. Subscribe to my channel, because there's going to be more people coming on talking about things that you need to know. So we are signing off. I just want to say happy Monday to you guys, and have a great evening.